article, or in the form of a story. Okay, all right. For the task, okay, for the task format, for part 1 is actually a short response to a informal message. Okay, a short response. In other words, you have to write a reply. Okay, I'll explain on that later on. Okay, the second one, a written essay based on the text stimulus. Okay, they will give you guidelines, all right, or maybe prompting questions. You write your essay based on the questions given. And the last one, you will be given a selection of 3 questions. However, you can choose only one. Okay, you can choose only one. Right, so the first one is an email, is a reply email. The second one is a normal essay. All right, but the third one comes in 3, and then you have to choose only one, the one that you feel that you can score. All right, okay, can you do more than one for the last one? Well, I don't think you have time for that, all right, because the time allotted for this paper is actually 1 hour and a half. Okay, all right, so for the testing focus, okay, for this one, I've given you the module. If I'm not mistaken, I've given you the module yesterday through your teacher, Cik Khairul. I'm sure he has shared the module with you. You can read through on your own. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so the testing focus you can read on your own. Okay, now let's go to the most important part, the length. Okay, for the first part, for part 1, the length is actually about 80 words. About, okay, I'm not saying less than 80 words, and I'm not saying more than 80 words, but I'm using the word about. So the word about means sekurang-kurangnya ataupun dalam sekitar. Okay, the next one, the second essay, should be around 150 words. Okay, and the last one is actually 250. Okay, compared to the previous examination, this one in terms of the length of the essay, this one is such a relief, because in the previous SPM you had to write an essay more than 350 words. Okay, with no guidelines or whatsoever. We call it as a continuous writing. But this one, you will not write more than 300, and also the guidelines are given. All right, so I think this is such a relief for that. Okay, okay, the CF. Okay, all right. Now we talked earlier about the CFR level, where the SPM level is actually B1 and B2 for English language. Okay, specifically, even for the writing paper, even for any paper reading, speaking, or listening, each section actually is each section falls under one type of level. Okay, so basically the first one, the essay, the email writing that you're going to write, the level is actually B1 low. All right, and the second one is B1 high. All right, and the last one, for the third one, the one that you are given 3 options to choose from, the level is set on B2. Okay, all right, so for B1, this one is the one you are studying in Form 3, actually, B1. Okay, all right, so this one actually is the one that you are studying in Form 4, and the last one, B2, is the one that you're studying for, is the one that you're studying for Form 5. All right, if you have your textbook with you, all right, but I don't think you have the close-up textbook or the full plus textbook, but if you have, you can flip through the pages and you will notice these are the things that actually you learn. All right, okay, okay, marks. Okay, how much marks awarded for each section? All right, so the first one is 20, the second one is 20, so the third one is 20. So the total mark is actually 60 marks. Okay, all right. I'll explain to you later on how we award marks. Okay, now, all right. How do we get this 20? How do you get this 20 marks? Macam mana you nak dapat 20 markah ni? Datang daripada mana? Where does it come from? Okay, what kind of yardstick? What are the things that we'll be looking at in order for you to get the 20 marks? All right. So this 20 marks actually came from, this 20 marks actually come from this sub-scale. Okay. Each one of these come from this sub-scales. Okay. Right. Okay. Meaning that for each one, we'll be looking at the content, isi kandungan, the content of your essay, isi kandungan essay awak. The second one, we'll be looking at the communicative achievement. Okay. How well can you communicate with the examiner or the readers of your essay clearly with no disruption or whatsoever? The third one is the way you organize your content. Okay. Does it have a flow? Does it have a beginning? Does it have a middle, or does it have an end? Right? Organization. And the last one is the usage of language. Okay. Okay, language. So definitely we'll be focusing on your usage of grammar, and also your knowledge on the tenses, and also other grammatical items such as adverb, adjectives, so on and so forth. All right. So once again, the 20 marks awarded for each essay is actually taken from, it's not taken, but actually based on this thing: content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. All right. Is it clear now for you? Once again, if you have any inquiries, all right, if you have any doubt, if you cannot ask me verbally, you can just basically write in the comment section and I will respond to that. All right. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So let's try to look at this one. The focus of evaluation. All right. So there are several things that you have to consider. Okay. All right. So we have the subscale, we have the content, cognitive achievement, we have organization, and we have language. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Now, so we know about the 4 subscale: content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. All right. Now let's try to look at what are the examiners looking for each subscale, and what should you as candidates do. So what should you do? So what are we looking for in your essay, and what should you do to make sure that we can actually find the things that needed in the essay? All right. So first of all, for the content, all right. So the first one, for the content, we are looking for the fulfillment of the task requirement. All right. Meaning that you write an essay based on what the question intended you to do. All right. Let's say if the essay asks you to write a report, then you should write a report. If the essay asks you to write a reply email, then the essay should be a reply email. It should not be something else. Okay, it should not be other than that. Fulfill the task requirement. In other words, in BM, memenuhi kehendak soalan. All right. So the second, okay. So what must you do as candidate? You have to give priority to requirement of the question. All right. The keyword here is priority. Okay. Sometimes when you write an essay, okay, if you're a good student, I'm sure most of you are good students, you tend to put a lot of things. All right. Some of the things necessary, and some of the things are also unnecessary. So you should give priority to the necessary things, meaning that the compulsory things that should be included in the essay. Other things you want to include in the essay, go ahead, but you should give priority to what the question wants you to do. Alright, so memenuhi kehendak soalan, utamakan apa yang dia minta. Okay, yang lain-lain tu penambahan, you can just add later on. Okay, let's look at communicative achievement. Okay, so the focus will be on the tone. The focus will be on the tone, register, and appropriateness of the language. Okay, in other words, okay, in layman's term, dalam istilah yang lebih mudah, whatever you write, we examiners, we understand what you're saying. Itu yang benda paling penting. I'm not talking about grammar. I'm not talking about tenses or anything. It's just that when you write the essay, the message is conveyed across, meaning that you tulis, saya faham what you have written. Okay, that is the most important. That's what it means by communicative achievement. So how to make sure that whatever you have written actually is conveyed across. Okay, so the most important thing is, as a candidate, what must you do? When you write the essay later on, you elaborate using main ideas and supporting details. Okay, make sure you write your essay by giving the main ideas, idea utama, and then it is supported or substantiated with a supporting detail. Idea utama dan idea sampingan. Okay, idea tambahan. Okay, that what must you do as candidate. Okay, all right. Can you understand so far? Yes or no? No response. All right. Okay. And yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Nur Nazira Bentino. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, let's try to look at the organization. Okay. Okay. Organization is another important sub-skill. Okay. So what must you do? Okay. The focus is we as examiner, when we look at your writing, a piece of writing, we need to ensure that the writing is coherent and all of the ideas are linked together. Okay, coherent. Okay, something like this. Okay, you look at this. You have one idea. Sorry, can you see my hand? You can see my fingers. Okay, you have one idea here, and then you have another idea here, and make sure the ideas are locked together. Okay, meaning that there is a flow there. Okay, from one idea it is connect to the second idea, and then it is follow up with another idea, then another, and the idea. Okay, meaning that, in other words, dalam arti kata lain, the way you write, the content or the idea should not be scattered around. Dia tak perlu bersepah, dia mesti terikat satu sama lain. So how do you connect the ideas? How do you connect the ideas together? Simple. You make use of conjunction. Okay, for example, and, but, for, so, right? If you can remember the fanboys, for, and, what's the and stand for? Can't remember. But, or, and another one is why, yet, right? And then the last one is so, fanboys, right? So those are the conjunction. Make use of the conjunction in the essay to connect the ideas. Okay, but normally you use fanboys or conjunction to connect ideas within a sentence. But how are you going to connect ideas between sentences? You can make use of the sentence connectors. Okay, which is divided into two. We have logical connectors, another one is sequence connectors. All right, I'll explain to you on this later on. What is the difference between logical connectors and sequence connectors? All right. Okay, so the last one is language. All right. So when it comes to language, we'll be looking at examiner grammatical structure, meaning that the grammar is accurate. Okay, and you as students make sure that after you have finished writing the essay, you need to look at it again and make amendments, make a rectification if you have made some error. Kalau ada buat silap daripada segi grammar, you tengok balik. Tengok, he is, she, his, they are, he has. Okay, look at the tenses that you're using. Is it past tense? Is it present tense? Is it past participle? Is it past perfect? Is it present perfect? Is it present perfect continuous? All right. And the sentence structure. All right, sentence structure. Is it simple sentence? Is it simple sentence? Is it compound sentence? Or is it complex sentence? Okay, the best would be complex sentence. Okay, to get more marks for language, you have to write your ideas using complex sentences. How to write complex sentences? Okay, that is a discussion for another day. All right, right now I'll be focusing on this one. Okay, so these are the things that we'll be looking for. All right, once again, when we examiner mark your essay, we're looking at the content, isi kandungan, communicative achievement, how well your answer is conveyed in the essay. Kami sebagai examiner faham ke tak faham apa yang awak tulis. Organization, are the ideas linked together, bersambung atau bersepak-sepak. Language, grammar, betul ke tak? Tenses, betul ke tak? Substructure, simple sentence, complex, compound, right? So the best would be complex. Okay, right. So these are the subscale. Ini adalah subscale. Once again, subscale that we are looking for. Okay. Okay. How are marks awarded? Okay. Okay. How are marks awarded? Okay. To make it simpler for you, okay, kita anggaplah, are you familiar with the Likert scale? Familiar tak Likert scale? Skala Likert, we have 1 until 5. I think most of you are science stream students, so I'm pretty sure that you know about Likert scale. So Likert scale is a scale from 1 until 5, but not necessarily end with 5. It can continue or progress until 10, 11, whatsoever. All right. So let's assume that we have a Likert scale. So tadi kita ada content, kita ada communicative achievement, kita ada organization, and kita ada language. So let's say that I'm looking at this one particular essay. Katakanlah, let's say that I'm checking Nur Nazira's binti Maknos essay, right? For example. So when I look at it, I look at the content. Okay, is everything there? Did you put whatever I asked you to put? Ada tak? Apa yang saya minta, awak beri. Ada tak? Kalau ada semua, then you get 5 marks for that content. And then we look at the communicative achievement. Okay. Saya baca, saya faham tak? Saya faham secara jelas ke tak jelas? Is it clear? Is it crystal clear? Okay. Kalau jelas, I know that what you are trying to say, Nazira, then I'll give it 5. Okay, and then organization, ada ideas link, ada tak conjunction? Do you use conjunction to connect sentences between sentence between sentence? And then do you use the logical or the sequence connectors to connect the ideas? Ada tak? Okay, kalau ada bagus, 5 markah. And then the language, ada structure correct, ada grammar correct, 5 markah. Alright, so dekat sini I award you 5, content, communication 5, organization 5, language 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. So dekat sini you dapat 20. Okay, that is how we award mark. Okay, but it's not necessary that if the essay is good, you will get 5. Okay, sometimes you can get 5 for content, But in terms of the way you write it, saya baca saya tak berapa faham, mungkin dapat 3. Okay, saya tak berapa faham, mungkin sebab cara you organize tak berapa baik. Ideas are scattered everywhere, saya bagi 2. And then the language, okay, language, most of the sentences are simple sentences, ayat-ayat simple. Saya tak boleh nak bagi 5, so I give it 5. I'll give it 3. So jadi 5, 3, 2, 3. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 mark out of 20. Boleh jadi. Okay, it doesn't mean that if you get the first subscale 5, it doesn't mean that in the following subscale you're gonna get 5 as well. All right? No, it doesn't work that way. All right. Okay. All right. Now, can you tell me? Let me ask you a very important question. Similar to PT3, the marking is similar to PT3. Okay. Okay. Of all the subscale, content, cognitive achievement, organization, and language, which one is the most important? Mana yang paling penting? Please write in the comment section. Please write in the comment section of all the subscale, content, cognitive achievement, organization, and language, which one is the most important one? Okay, write in the comment section. All right. Content. Okay, fun says communication. Kirtana says language. Kirtana, hello. Okay, content, Ani say content, Jonathan say organization, Harold say content. That's a very cool name, Harold. What about wrong spelling? Okay, what about wrong spelling? Okay, now, okay, so spelling will falls under here. Spelling will falls under language. Okay, when you talk about wrong spelling, based on the degree of errors that you make, berdasarkan pada kadar error yang you buat. Okay, kalau banyak error, kalau the amount of error, spelling error is minimal ataupun sikit saja 1 atau 2, mungkin you boleh dapat 4, 5 markah. Okay, but if there's a lot glaring error to the extent that it's distort what I'm reading, sampai satu tahap saya baca pun tak faham, then you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 marks. Okay, all right, that's why I said after you have written your essay, you can check balik, you can edit balik. Okay, make sure that you don't misspell any important words. Okay, a small error is okay, a small mistake, spelling mistake is okay, but a glaring error, itu memang tak boleh diterima lah. Okay, contoh the word message becomes massage. Okay, itu glaring error. It change the ideas or the sentence altogether. Okay, all right. So language. Okay, now similar to PT3, the most important subscale is actually this one, content. Content is the most important one. Kenapa? Okay, bayangkanlah, katakanlah, I give you an essay to do, and then you do it, and then when I check, you do it wrongly. I ask you to write an email I ask you to write a reply email. Instead, you write something else. Let's say you write a story. Katakanlah tak ada kena-mengena dengan apa yang saya minta. So di situ, for content sahaja, you will get 0. For content, you will get 0. Just like PT3, if the content is 0, then definitely cognitive achievement is 0, organization is 0, language is 0, then everything will be 0 upon 20. So that's why yang paling penting sekali adalah content. Content salah, okay, you buat benda lain, you do something else other than what the question asks you to do, definitely get 0, then the rest will be 0. Right? So makna dia kat situ you tak faham soalan, meaning that you don't understand what is the requirement of the question. So ingat, the most important thing is content. Fulfill the requirement of the task. Okay, all right, any question regarding this? Ni baru permulaan, all right. Okay, the session is only 2 hours, 30 minutes has already passed. but I can extend until 12. I don't mind. Okay, got nothing else to do today. Okay, any question regarding this before I proceed to go for the question one by one? Any questions so far regarding the marking scale? Maybe Encik Khairul, any question that you would like to pose regarding this? Is Encik Khairul here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Any inquiries regarding this marking scale?
Let's say that the content is around 3, right? Okay, will it affect the other things like the communicative achievement, organization, language? Will it affect that?
Content is very easy to fulfill actually. Content is very easy to fulfill. Sebenarnya senang je content tu sebenarnya. Katakanlah let's say the question asks you to advise a friend, okay? Advise a friend, and then you write a sentence, I would like to advise you. So meaning that for content saja you dah dapat 5. Sebenarnya content is very easy to get mark. Alright, so those who got 0 for content are those pun yang memang tak tahu apa yang berlaku. Meaning that those yang baca soalan pun tak faham. Okay, but it won't affect others. You will get 0 for others if you got 0 for content. That is for PT3 level, but for SPM level it would be the same as well. Okay, because we are using the same subscale. It's just maybe that the details are different. Okay, all right. Nur Nazira, no, when you have the content, you have the language. Worry when you don't have any content, it means you don't have anything to write. Okay, now is that a question? Is that a question, or is just you're pouring your heart out? When you have the content, you have the language. Worry when you don't have any content, it means that you don't have anything to write. Betul lah tu. Nah, it's just an opinion. Okay, that's a very good opinion. It's a fact. It's a very good opinion as well. Okay, Loshni, what happened if I write more than the stated number of words? Okay, now, all right. So we have 4 subscale: content, cognitive achievement, organization, and language. The length of the essay is not part of the subscale. Length is not part of the subscale. Dia bukan macam, it's not like the previous examination. Okay, all right. Okay, it's something like this, you know. The more you write, the more marks you will get. All right, but at the same time, the more you write, the more mistakes you will make. Okay, so this is what we call as a catch-22 situation lah. Okay, the more you write, the more marks you will get, but at the same time, you tend to make more mistakes. So the length is not a requirement, all right? As long as you fulfill. Sebab tu saya kata tadi, again and again, time and again, I keep saying, you fulfill what the question wants you to write. Okay, memenuhi kehendak soalan. Apa yang diminta, dia bagi. We will go one by one, section by section. Saya nak tunjuk pada awak macam mana nak jawab. I'll show it to you. Okay, Loshni, I'll show it to you how do we approach each question. Okay, another thing is the allotted time is actually 1 hour and a half. I don't think you have extra time to write a very lengthy essay. All right. Okay, another thing is the mark is only 20. Okay. Previously for SPM, you get, if I'm not mistaken, 50 marks for continuous writing. Yang ni 20 saja. Okay. Now let's look at the question one by one. Okay. But sir, if the words exceed the limit, will the penanda read till the end? Who's the penanda? Oh, me. All right, examiners. All right. Exceed the limit, will the penanda? Well, it's not the limit actually. It's not a summary writing. All right. We will continue reading the text as usual. It's just that consider like this, Kirtana. Don't assume that a long essay means it is a good essay. It doesn't mean that. Ingat itu saja. A long essay doesn't mean that it is a good essay. But we're still going to read it, right? You dah tulis, right? You have written it. Of course, I have to read it. Okay? It's not like a summary writing. I don't think you know what is summary writing. All right, because summary writing is from the previous syllabus. Okay. All right. All right. Shall I proceed with the next one? Okay. Thank you, Kirtana. That is a very good question. All right. I will totally read your essay, regardless of the length of it. Okay. Now let's get to go to question one. Okay. This is a sample. This is sample taken from Lembaga actually. Okay, sample taken from Lembaga, which I received last year. Okay, for your information, Cikgu Khairul, I'm the in Melaka. I'm also the JU. I'm also for the JU for CFR for the District of Melaka Tengah. All right. Okay. So this is the first one. The first questions. Okay. You receive an email from a new friend, Amy, who has just moved to your hometown. Hi. The school holiday is finally here. Let's go for a picnic with our friends. Where shall we go? What can we do there? What should we bring? I'll be waiting for your reply. Bye. In about 80 words, write a message to Amy. All right. Now, this is the first question. Okay. So, you are given an email, a very short email. Okay. I don't think it's about 100 words. It's a very short email, maybe about 50 words here. But you have to write a response or a reply in about 80 words. Okay. All right. So how do we approach this? Okay. Now, first of all, firstly, the first step, when you receive this email, the moment you are reading this email, you have to ask yourself these 4 important questions. The first question is, who is the sender? Siapa pengantar dia? All right. Now, you have the module with you. Okay. All right. I distributed to Cikgu Khairul last night, actually, yesterday, actually. Okay, now, question 1. Can anyone answer me? Who is the sender? Who is the sender of the email? Anyone? Hello? All right. Okay, very good. No, okay, Chloe. All right, so the sender is Amy. Okay, who is the recipient? Who is the person who received the email? Based on the questions, who is the one receiving the email? Who is the recipient? Is it Amy again? Is the name stated there? Myself, you, yes, very good, you. Right, right, you. All right, now the third question. What does the sender want? From the email written by Amy, what does she want actually? What does she want? Okay, let's try to look at the questions again. The school holiday is finally here. Let's go for picnic with our friends. Where shall we go? What can we do there? What should we bring? I'll be waiting for your reply. Suggestion, information about the picnic, ideas for picnic. Okay. Okay, betul lah. Alright. Suggestion, information about the picnic, ideas for picnic. Very good. Alright. So those are the things. Okay. Suggestion. Sorry. Okay, suggestion, information. Okay, what else? Ideas. Betul? Okay, and the last one. What does the recipient have to do? So what do you have to do? The email is written by Amy. You are the recipient. She wants suggestion, information. All right. So what does the recipient have to do? You have to reply. Reply to what? Reply to all of this. Okay. Okay. So It's not just information. Reply with relevant information. Saya tekankan sekali lagi. I stress on it again. Relevant information. Meaning that minta beri apa yang diminta. Okay. Alright. Sebab content. Alright. Okay. Very good. Okay. Now. Okay. So what you have to do? Okay. Let's look at step number 2. Okay. So what you have to do right now? You have to reply an email to Amy. Okay. But however, the email should correspond. Okay. I use the term correspond. Okay. All right. You have learned this in Form 4 actually. The first chapter. Let's chat. Okay. Okay. So what must you do? You write a reply email that correspond to whatever Amy has written. Okay. So the first thing you have to do, make use of a highlighter. Like what I'm using right now, I'm using a lot of highlighters to identify the keywords and the key phrases. All right. Okay. All right. So candidates can highlight keywords or key phrases. They require them to correspond and identify the correct response for each one. Okay. All right. So katakanlah. Okay. Okay. Amy said to you, the school holiday is finally here. Okay. Another thing she said is, let's go picnic with our friends. The next thing she said is, where shall we go and what can we do there? And the last thing she said is, what should we bring? All right. So these are the things that you have to correspond atau balas balik. Dia tanya, you jawab. She asked, you answer. Even if she didn't ask, you have to respond something. Okay. All right. So these are the things that you have to respond. Okay. The school holiday is finally here. So how do you respond to that? Let's go picnic with our friend. How do you respond to that? What should we bring? How do we respond to that? Where shall we go? What can we do there? How do you respond to that? Okay. So let's look at the type of response that we have here. Okay. All right. So the first one we have is expressing enthusiasm. The second one is declining invitation, accepting invitation, sharing news, offering condolences, offering suggestion, advice, or recommendation, giving permission, and the last one is asking for permission. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to test you one by one. Okay. Sorry. Now, so Amy says the school holiday is finally here. How do you respond to that? How do you respond to that? Which one would you choose? Expressing enthusiasm, accepting invitation, condolences, permission, declining invitation, sharing news, offering suggestion, or asking permission. Okay, anyone who can help me with this one? Let's do the first one. The school holiday is finally here. So what should you reply to that? It's not a question. Dia bukan soalan. It's not a question. She does not ask you anything. But still you have to respond to that when she said that the school holiday is finally here. So which one? Anyone? Expressing enthusiasm. Very good. Okay, Harold, expressing enthusiasm. All right. So how do we respond to that? By choosing one of the selection. Okay. For example, like, wow. 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 Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go picnic with our friends. Let's go picnic. Let's go for a picnic with our friends. How about that one? Offering condolences, expressing enthusiasm, sharing news, accepting invitation. Other than that, accepting Kirtana say accepting. Loshni has say accepting. Shavitra say accepting. Seo Ying Shin say accepting. Now, how about declining? Can we decline? Shavitra, can we decline? Yes, Nurfa, can we decline? Yes, you can decline. All right, you can decline. Okay, whatever it is, if you decline, you have to give a reason why. Okay, you can decline if you want to, but most people, I think most people would accept, right? Most people would accept. So what you can do is accepting invitation. Maybe you can say, I don't know, maybe you can say thanks for inviting me. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, we can say thanks for inviting me. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay, another one. Okay. Okay. Accepting invitation. Thank you for inviting me. Okay, maybe we can write. Okay. Sorry. Okay, thank you for inviting me. Okay. All right. So where shall we go and what we can do there? All right. That one is definitely this one, offering suggestion. Okay. Offering suggestion. All right. Maybe you can respond by saying, I would like to suggest you. Okay. 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 So what should we bring? Also, okay, is a suggestion. Okay. You should. Can we just write you should? Oh, boleh juga. Okay. You should. All right. So see what I'm doing right now. I'm making sure that my reply later on is going to correspond to each one of them. Okay. The school finally, the school holiday is finally here. So I said, wow, that's great. I'm showing enthusiasm. Let's go for picnic. Thank you for inviting me. Count me in. All right, you're responding to that. So your friend asks, what shall we go? What can we do there? Okay, you offer suggestion. What should we bring? Then you offer suggestion. So you make use of any of these common. You can use any of this expression to correspond to whatever your friend has written. All right. Okay. And then later on, you can add a little bit of your own elaboration just to make sure that your essay is actually longer, around 80 words. All right. Okay. Now, so when you write an essay, when you write an email or a typical informal letter, definitely you have the opening sentence and the closing sentences. All right. Okay. Normally we don't start with straightly with the content, but you start something with kind of like a small talk. All right. You know, maybe like words such as, or maybe sentences like, how are you? Sorry, I haven't written so long. How are things? Things like that. It was great to hear from you again. How many sentences should you write? Some of the sentences, at least one. All right. All right. So opening sentence should be at the beginning of the sentence after you have written dear Amy. Okay. All right. And then before you end, before the sign off, you have the closing sentences like this one. Maybe you can have like, I must go now. All right, back to you soon. Send my love or send my regards to everyone. I'm looking forward to hear from you. Okay. So maybe once again, one or two. Okay. So opening sentence at the beginning of the sentence, after the salutation, after you have written dear Amy, and then you start with this one. And then before you end with the sign off, you can have the closing sentence. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is how the structure of the email. Okay, this is how the structure of the email. Okay, you begin with the salutation. All right. Hi Amy, how are you? Hi Amy, dear Amy. Okay. Next, you continue with the opening sentence. How are things? I hope everything's okay. You can select one from the list given. All right. Now, so this would be the first response. All right, the first response. Okay, remember the one that you said, express, enthusiasm. Okay, right. It's fantastic news that the holiday is, okay, say wow, it's great. Okay, so the first response. Okay, and then a little bit of elaboration you can add. And then we have response number 2. Okay, this is one. Thanks for inviting me to go picnic with our friends. So that would be accepting. Okay, accepting an offer. Okay, or invitation. A little bit of elaboration there. Response 3. Okay, response 3. Your friend asks about suggestion where to go. Right. All right, and then you give suggestion. If I were you, I would go to Pateng Klebang in Malacca. All right, and then a little bit of elaboration. Okay, so this one is suggestion. Okay, and then response 4, a little bit of elaboration. She asks you, what should we bring? And then you respond, why don't you bring along? All right, so this one is also suggestion. Okay, and then you have the closing sentence. Well, that's all for now. Looking forward to hear from you. Send my love to everyone. Okay, and then finally you have the sign off. All right, so this is the structure of the reply email. You start with the salutation, and then you continue, you proceed with the opening sentence, maybe 1 or 2. All right, so here would be the response. Okay, the response that correspond well with the initial email. Okay, and then you're closing off a closing sentence and then sign off. 80 words is just enough. All right. Okay, now let me ask you, why is it important to use all of this? Why is it important to make use of all of this suggested expression? Who can answer me that? Kenapa? Why are we using this expression in the first place? Anyone? Okay, who can respond to that? Why must we use this expression, the one that I have introduced for you? And for your information, this expression actually can be found in the Form 4 textbook actually. Why must we use the expression? Anyone? Goodbye Shimala. For higher mark, to make it smooth. Smooth. To higher mark, to show our expression. Not to make it smooth, I like that. To show expression. Okay. Why? To make it interesting? No. Right. Okay. One reason, which is to get marks for. Okay, let me just write it here. Okay, let me just write it here. Not to make it interesting actually, but to get marks for communicative achievement. Right? That's all. To get marks for communicative achievement. All right? Meaning that sorry, not to get mark. Sorry, my mistake. Not to get mark for communicative achievement, but to get mark for content. Sorry, my mistake. Not this one. Okay, actually it's for content. All right, why content? Because the question asks you to respond. Okay, the question asks you to respond well to the email, and then what must you do is you respond well to the email, so you get mark for content. All right, that's why you need to use make. Okay, that's why you need to use all of these suggested expression to know that ada tak dia show enthusiasm, ada tak dia accept the invitation, ada tak dia bagi cadangan, things like that. All right, to get mark for content. Okay, and then to get marks for communicative achievement is the elaboration like this one. So for things like this, okay. I saw on TV, it's an amazing place. The scenic view is suitable, like shutterbug for you. Why don't you bring your barbecue utensil? I'll bring the plate. So those are the elaboration. Then one you get marked for communicative achievement. All right. Okay. That's why you need to use all of this sentence pattern or suggested expression. Guna. Jangan tak guna. Trust me. You guna, you dapat markah. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, sorry, to clear this up. Okay, now how to get marks for organization? Nak dapat markah untuk organization macam mana pula? Okay, simple. Once again, you make sure that your email is coherent and make use of the conjunction. So ada tak conjunction here? So these are the conjunction. Okay, sorry. All right. Candidate have to connect ideas using conjunction, logical, or sequence connector. All right. So we have for, and, no, but, or, yet. So fanboys. Okay. Ada tak? Okay. For, to ada tak? It's not. Is it to? No, it's not to. Okay. For. Okay. For another one. Sorry. For another one. Okay. And then how about sentence connectors? All right. We have two. We have logical connector and we have sequence connector. Okay. Sequence connector and logical connector and sequence connector. Okay. So you can choose either one. Logical connector is normally used for descriptive writing, but sequence connector normally we use in a story. Okay, do we have that? Do we have those things? Okay, see, we have furthermore. All right, so enough. Okay, all right. So if you have all of these things, furthermore, for, and then definitely for organization, you can get 5. Right? Organization, you can get 5. Right? Because you have made use of all these things to connect the ideas together. All right. Now, let's try to look at this. Okay. So if you notice, it's just 90 words. It's more than 80. All right. But it's not too much. Okay. 90, 100. If you can go to up to 100, go ahead. Sorry. Battery is dying, so let me charge my computer a bit. Okay, now let's try to look at this one. Okay. Okay, now let's check whether the reply email correspond with the sender's email or not. Okay, kita tengok dia correspond ke tak. The school holiday is finally here. Ada tak? Okay, it's fantastic news that the holiday is here. So correspond. Okay, let's go for picnic with our friends. Ada tak? Yes, there is a response. Let's go picnic with us. Thanks for inviting me to go picnic with our friends. Where shall we go and what can we do there? And you respond, if I were you, I would go to the Pantai Kelebang in Malacca. Right, and then a little bit of elaboration. Okay. What should we bring? Okay. See? Why don't you bring along your barbecue utensils to the place and I'll bring the plates. All right. So, all right. So everything is responded well. Okay. Yang ini dengan yang ini. This one with this one. This one with this one. See? And this one with this one. All right. So everything is responded. How about the sentence pattern? Do you use it? Yes. It's a fantastic news. Thanks for inviting me. If I were you, why don't you? All right. So this is a perfectly written email. All right. About 90 words. Okay. For this one, you boleh dapat 20 markah. Definitely. Okay. Sorry. Okay. For this one, definitely you can get 20 marks. Okay. For content, sorry. Okay, so for content, sorry, there's a technical glitch here. I don't know why. Okay. All right, so basically for content, you can get 5. So see, you can get 5. For CA, definitely you get 5. Okay, for organization, definitely you can get 5. And then for language, definitely you can get 5. Right? Okay. Wait. Okay. Any question regarding this? Okay. Okay. Any question regarding this? No. Okay. All right. So I assume you understand that. Okay. All right. Anyone? No. Is paragraphing necessary for organization? Well, yes, actually. All right. Is paragraphing necessary for organization? Yes, definitely. Other than just using logical connectors, sequence connectors, paragraphing is also pertinent, right? It's also pertinent or relevant in essay writing because it shows how you organize your thoughts, right? For example, like this one, we have we can divide it into two parts. The first one is the invitation, and the other part is the suggestion, right? But the most important thing is to make use of the logical connectors. Paragraph is something that you can run away from, okay? When arranging your content. All right. Other than that, okay, thank you. Welcome.
I have a question.
Yes. Yes.
Let's say, for example, right, the student is answering the part where the question is asking about things to bring, right? Okay, let's say if the students write more than, let's say, 3 or 4 sentences for that, will there be a difference in the marks rather than having 1 sentence only?
Well, like what I've said, okay, like what I've said, whatever it is, everything as examiner, we look back at the marking scale, okay, regardless how many you have written, because it says the 80 marks, right? If you suggest, for example, like one thing, all right, it's okay, it's accepted, but at the same time we'll be looking at the subscale for cognitive achievement. Does it have any elaboration on that? Okay, so elaboration is needed for communicative achievement. For this one, the elaboration should not be too much. Maybe 1 to 3 sentences is suffice, because the number of words, the maximum number of words given is around 80 actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and another thing is, even though if you notice that each section, the marks awarded are 20, but even though the subscale is the same, the marks is the same, but however, when the higher the level get, the way we mark is actually stricter, lebih ketat. Okay, for example, for the first one, okay, part 1, we were kind of like, really lenient, okay, for the first part, but for the second part, we're going to be a little bit strict, and the last part would be stricter, lebih ketat. Okay, walaupun markah dia 20, even though the mark is 20, okay, because we look at the level. Yang tadi level B1 low, and then B2 high, and then B2 B1 B2 high, and then B1 low, B1 high, and B2 high. All right. Okay. All right. Anything else? This one is easy actually. Okay. All right. Okay, let's proceed with the next one. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's try to go to. All right. I need to excuse me for a second, because there's one thing that I need to go and get actually. Sorry. Okay, just give me seconds. All right. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, all right. Now, okay, let's try to look at part 2. Okay, so part 2 is a guided writing, as a common essay with guidelines. Okay, so let's try to read the answer. Sorry, let's try to read the questions. Part 2, you must answer these questions. Write your answer in 125 to 150 words in an appropriate style. Okay, question 2. Your class has been discussing how they spend their money, and your teacher has asked you to write an essay about what would you spend your money on. In your essay, you should write about what you would like to buy. Another one is reasons for your choice, and the last one is where do you usually buy these things. Okay, all right, so you have to write the essay. Okay, and your essay must have all of this. Okay, so this should be the content of the essay, right? And then you have to write this content in your essay. You have to include them in your essay. Write your essay using all the notes. Okay, let me highlight this. Write your essay using all the notes and giving reason for your point of view. Right, so from this content, you have to use them and you have to provide reason. Unlike the PT3, for PT3, for PT3 examination for English, the first part and the second part. For the second part, it says that you may use the notes to help you in the writing, meaning that it's not compulsory to use the notes. But for this one, you have to use this note. Okay, you have to use this note. Why? To get marks for content. All right. Now, how to answer this type of question? Okay, first of all, keep things short and simple. You don't have to write too long, thinking that you can get marks from longer text. No, you don't get marks from longer text. All right. If you are less able students, you can keep sentences short and simple. It's okay. All right. So if you're good, that means that if you're good students, if you can elaborate on your points, okay, you can make use of the compound sentences, complex sentences. But if you are less able students, maybe you're not very good at writing, even a mere simple sentence would suffice actually. All right. But don't expect to get a very high marks. All right. Okay. So what can we do now? The moment you receive this, you have to make use of the pill writing method, which help you to elaborate and also organize your idea. The pill writing method. Now, are you familiar with this? Anyone? Anyone? Any of you familiar with the pill writing method? Anyone? Cikgu Khairul, are you familiar with this one? The pill method?
No.
No. Right? Okay, now this is a very interesting method of writing. Okay, it's a very interesting method of writing. Okay, it has two functions. The first one, it helps you to elaborate your ideas, and the second one, it helps you to organize your ideas. You can do it, you can use the pill method for the whole essay, or if you write a very long essay, maybe like 300 words and above, you can make use of it for each paragraph. Okay, I'll explain to you what is the pill method. Okay, now the word pill, okay, the word pill, okay, okay, the word pill is in BM is, what do you call pill in BM? Anyone? Imagine a fruit, imagine an apple. To eat the apple, what do you do? Before you eat it, what do you do? Anyone? You wash the apple. After you have washed the apple, what do you do with the apple? Okay, let's say mango. You what? Was it Nazira?
Of course, peel the apple.
Okay. Is it a cikgu? Sorry. Hello, excuse me. Miss Nazira, are you a teacher or student? Oh, she's a teacher. Oh, sorry. I thought you are Form 5 student. Okay, no wonder you respond well. Okay, all right. So just like a fruit, okay. Okay, so when you have a fruit in your hand, what do you do with it? You wash it and then you peel off the skin, right? Kupas, right? But for essay, thank you, Yasmin. Kupas, very good. Okay, but for essay, in order to write an essay, you have to kupas the idea, right? Okay, you can use the peel. You can use the peel method. The word peel is actually is an acronym. All right. Peel itself is an acronym for point, example, elaboration, and the last one is link. All right. PEEL, okay, which helps candidate to elaborate and organize the flow of ideas coherently by combining each one with a guided question. Okay, I'll explain to you on how do we do that. Okay. Normally, when students drafting an essay, we teachers, we tend to teach them using the bubble map, right? Bubble map, in which we have one single main idea in the middle, and then from that one idea, it branches out to many small, smaller details, ideas, and that, right? We normally use that. Normally, we use one whole A4 paper just to branch out our ideas, okay? But one thing I noticed about using mind map or bubble map in the essay, candidate or student tend to forget afterwards on how to include that in the essay. So that's the problem. So during the drafting level, okay, during the drafting stage, they manage to, branch out all the ideas, everything. Everything is there perfectly, But the moment when it comes to writing, all right, the moment when it comes to writing, they tend or is either accidentally or purposely left those things out. All right, accidentally. Okay, drafting ada. Tapi bila tulis essay, bila check, mana pergi? It disappears somehow. All right, that's the problem. So we make use of this thing, this pill method. Okay, all right. So we know that when we look at the structure of an essay, okay, the structure of an essay, we have three parts. Can you excuse me? There's a phone call. Hello, the class. Sorry. All right. So when we look at the structure of an essay, okay, generally an essay, a structure of an essay is divided into three, right? So we have the introduction, we have the body, but we have and then we have the closing. But it's too general, it's too broad. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper. So let's break it down. What do we have in introduction? What do we have in the body? And what do we have for closing? All right. For the introduction, we can have the point, the P, and also in the body we have the example and elaboration, both these together in one section, not paragraph but section, parts. Okay, I'm not talking about paragraph. Okay, and then the last one is link. Link should be the closing. So the introduction we have the point, body we have example and elaboration, and closing we have the link. All right, now let's go a little bit in details. Okay, so the point is actually it is a sentence that controls the central idea of the essay. Okay, preferably it starts with something general. Okay, once I show you the example, you will see it. Okay, okay, and then it is followed with and then we go down to the body. We start with examples. Example actually derived from the central idea. After the examples, we have the elaboration from the examples given. And then next we have the link. Link can either be a summary or a conclusion, sentences that conclude or summarize the paragraph or the essay. Or maybe the sentence that has some of personal response, like, evaluation, opinion. Or maybe sentences that have suggestion and recommendation. So when I teach my student writing, I tend to use this peel method instead of using the old school bubble map. All right, because I prefer that when they are drafting, at the same time they are making sure that the information is there in the essay. Okay, to make sure that it's not left out. Okay, let me show you one example. Okay, let's try to look at this one. Okay, so here, okay, your class has been discussing how they spend their money, and your teacher has asked you to write an essay about what you spend your money on. Okay, so macam tadi, so there are three things you have to include in your essay. What would you like to buy, reason for your choice, and where do you usually buy this thing. So these three important things mesti ada. All right, so what must you do? What can you do is by inserting all of this into your draft. Okay, inserting all of this into your draft. Okay, contohnya, example. Okay, like this one. All right, so for the first one point, okay, it's just the main idea, central idea. Okay, what would you like to buy? So that one is the example. Okay, what would you like to buy? That one is example. Reason for your choice and where do you usually buy this thing? That one is the elaboration. Okay, all right. So see that when you are using this technique, you can ensure that all of these things are included in advance in your essay. Dia takkan terkeluar ataupun tertinggal sebagainya. Okay. Okay, for example lah. Okay, so like what I've said earlier, when you write on the point, it should be something general. Okay, you should start with something general. Do not go something that is specific, because it would be very difficult for you to elaborate later on. So start with something general. Okay, so if the question asks how they spend their money, write an essay about write an essay about what you would spend your money on. Okay, so instead of saying, okay, this is example. Okay, I give the example of equipment and accessories for online learning. Okay, instead of saying computer, Okay, instead of saying projector, instead of saying phone, I use something that is general, equipment for online learning. Okay, something that is general. And then when you go for example later on what would you like to buy, barulah you pergi in details apa yang you akan beli or what you should buy. Okay, this one you go in detail. Contohnya dia Microsoft Surface Pro, Xiaomi webcam for example, Logitech Bluetooth headphone for example. Okay, should we elaborate on that? Not yet. Belum lagi. Not yet. Alright. You go to the second one. Sorry, so get to the third part, which is elaboration. Now, you maybe I use a different color. Sorry. Okay. Reason for your choice. This is the part where you elaborate. Okay. So we have Microsoft Surface Pro, Xiaomi webcam, Logitech headphone, things like that. So these are okay. And then here we have the elaboration one by one. Sorry. Okay, we have the elaboration here. Okay. See? All right. Where do you usually buy this thing? Okay, see? Lazada, Shopee. Right. Right. Now, see, when you're using this method, okay, you definitely manage to ensure that all the things that should be there are there. Okay. All right. Where do you usually buy? Where do you usually buy these things? Yeah. All right. And then once again, closing. Closing is a conclusion. Why is it important to buy all of these things? And you can write there. It is my online lesson. All right. Okay. So this is the part where you write the essay. So this is where you write the whole essay. See, ada tak? Okay, money to buy, equipment, accessory for online learning. Okay, Surface Pro, Xiaomi webcam. Okay. Next, Surface Pro. Okay. Okay, Xiaomi webcam, Logitech handphone. Is the elaboration there? Yes, elaboration is here. Okay. All right. Where do you buy it? Yes, Lazada, Shopee. You can refer to, I don't have time to read everything, but you can refer to your notes, okay? All right. Okay, is my online lesson. Okay, to summarize, those documents is important, will help my online lesson. All right, see? Okay, around 200 words. Okay, so make use of this pill method when you write. You start with point. You start with something that is general. Okay. For example, like this one, I did not say that I'm going to buy a computer, but I use the word equipment for online learning. And then for the example, I'll go a little bit deeper on the things that I really want to buy specifically. There are 3 things I want to buy. And then for the third part is the elaboration. I talk about the reason for my choice, and I talk about where I'll buy all these things. All right. I can elaborate on that as well. Lazada and Shopee. I can explain. I can talk about maybe the price sold and online store is cheaper than the one in the physical store, but I purposely do not want to because it's just 150 words actually. All right. Okay, and then the last one is link. Link should be the closing. It either can be conclusion, summary, personal response, suggestion. I'll show you another example afterwards. All right. Okay, so this is how you use the pill technique. Okay, now since that the essay for this one, the essay is very short, 100 to 150 words. Okay, but if you write a longer essay, you can make use of the peel method for each paragraph, right? Each paragraph. For this one, I use it for the entire essay, but for a longer essay, you can use it for each paragraph. You can use it for any types of essay, except for narrative writing, except for story. Story has a different plot stages, right? Because when you write story, you need those plot stages. You cannot use this one. Okay. Any question regarding this method? Anything? Cikgu Khairul or Madam Nazira, is it? Or Cikgu Nazira, sorry. Any?
So far, I don't have any question.
So far, okay. Thank you. All right. But if you have, please do so. All right. Okay. Have you tried this method with your students beforehand? I mean, like previously in your classroom, or you just normally use the typical mind map when elaborating on the points? Yes.
I think the method is just the same.
Yes.
Only the name of the method will be different. I don't call it as a peel method.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. It's just I use the word peel because it's an acronym: point, example, elaboration. So whatever it is, it's good to use this because the things that the question wants us to include is here, right? So when we examine it, even when we check, so wow, everything's there. Very good. All right. Sir, roughly how many paragraphs we should write in part 2? Is it necessary to add idioms and proverbs in part 2? All right. Okay. Is it necessary to add idioms and proverbs in part 2? Okay. Kirtana, that depends on the questions. What sort of writing that you should write? Okay. All right. But kids, students like to add all of this flowery language, but you have to make use that they are aptly used. Okay. All right. So let me just right here. Okay. Okay. So make sure they are at use. You want to make use of idiom, proverb, but sometimes using idioms and proverb that's normally is commonly found in the old English. In old English, we normally use idiom, things like that. But in modern English, normally sometimes we hardly use them, but we do have some sort of language that comes with shades of meaning. Okay. 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 We make use of language that comes with shades of meaning. Okay, that is the common use for the modern English language. All right, we don't hardly use idiom these days, such as I hope you're in the pink of health, things like that, happy as a lark, All right, I'll show you another example, okay, afterwards. Okay, an aptly use of flowery language. Okay. Okay, all right, and as usual, make use of the sentence connector lah. As usual, you need to make use of this. Okay, all right, so this is a sample answer of an essay. All right, okay, now let's see whether I have included or made use of logical connectors in this essay. Tengok ada tak saya guna logical connectors or sequence connectors. Let me check ada tak. Okay, I found one. Therefore, to summarize, what else? First, apart from that, okay, very good. Other than that, okay, all right, okay. So those are sentence connectors. Okay, how about conjunction? Do I use conjunction in this? Sure, and what else? For, because. What else? And. As. All right. So this one, you make use all of these, and then you can get marks for. Sorry. Okay, you can get marks for organization. Okay, you make use all of these logical connectors, sequence connectors, and then you get marks for organization. All right. Okay. All right. Now, if you compare this one with the essay from part 1, okay. All right. So the first one, okay, you can use maybe 1 or 2 conjunction, or at least 1 sentence connector. It would be suffice enough, cukup. But for the second one, using 1 conjunction or maybe using 1 sentence connector is not enough. You have to use more than 3 or more than 4. Okay, all right, because the essay is longer. So like what I've said earlier, when we mark the paper for paper 1, when we mark the section for section 1, we're a little bit lenient because the level is B1 low. But as it gets higher, the marking becomes stricter. Okay, all right. So this one is kind of like is a little bit stricter than before, and the third one will be the strictest of all. Okay, all right. That is how you should answer. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Any questions? Okay. We have like 5 minutes left. Okay. Do you mind if we proceed with until 11:30 whatsoever? Is it okay if I exit 11 o'clock, or do they have another program afterwards? Cikgu Nazira or Cikgu Khairul? Hello?
Yes, please proceed.
Proceed.
I think it's better we finish everything so that students are clear on how to enter all the section items.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. So meaning that they do not have any program afterwards. All right. Okay. So I shall proceed. Okay. Any question before I continue with the next one? From the students, of course. Any questions? Anything else? Putri, yes, Putri? Okay. Somebody raising her hand, but no questions being posted here. Hello, Putri. Okay, you raise your hand just to inform me that you have no questions. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, good to know. Okay. Okay, so for the following section, so far no questions, sir. All right, if you have questions later on, okay, we're gonna have a Q&A session afterwards in the end. All right, let's go to part 3 or question 3. Okay, question 3 is more or less the same. All right, more or less the same. All right, in which you have to write the essay based on the guidelines given for this one. All right. Okay, we know there is an article, 1/3, my school canteen. What are the types of food would you like to serve? What special facilities you have in the canteen? How can you improve the canteen? All right. So all of these things, you ambil benda ni, you take all of these things and you insert it here in the PIL method. Okay, so once again, we have the introduction, body. Okay, we have the introduction, body, and closing. Okay, and then let's go a little bit deeper. Point, example, elaboration, link. Okay, All right, so the first one, what other types of food you would like to be served? So that one will fall under example. What special facilities should you have in the canteen? That will fall under example. How can you improve? Okay, that one is under link because it asks for, kenapa saya letak link? Because that is personal respond. Okay, that is personal respond. Okay, all right. So I start with the point. Why am I writing this article about school canteen? Why? The reason is, okay, maybe I can say that the situation is worsening day by day. We need suggestion to improve menu and facilities. Okay, so what type of food would you like to be served? Okay, maybe a different menu for each day, a healthier food. What facility should you have? A reading corner, all right? Should we elaborate on that? No, not yet, because that will be in the third part, which is on elaboration. So elaboration tak ada apa dekat sini. Okay, no question being posted here, but we assume that that is the elaboration for the example. Okay, so this is the part where you elaborate. Okay, different menu give different student option on what to eat. Healthier food to fight obesity. Reading corner, students enjoy snacking while eating. Students can eat at the library. Okay, so how can you improve the canteen? All right, these are some of the suggestions that you can give. Okay. All right, so you have all of these ideas being laid out in the pill, is it diagram or table? Okay, then you just simply write it. You just convert it into sentence form, all right? Our school canteen is worsening day by day. Therefore, I have suggestion that might fix the problem, eventually improve in terms of menu and facilities. Different menu for each day instead of usual meal. A healthy option for those who observe healthy eating. Okay, a reading corner where the shelves are filled with books, newspaper, magazine, and materials. Okay, those are also example. Okay. Okay, a different menu gives student option on what to eat. If not, student will feel bored of eating the same food. Healthier food is good since obesity rate among teenagers are on the rise. Okay, a reading corner for students who enjoy snacking while eating. They are not allowed to eat at the library, so we bring the library to the canteen. All right, now let's try to look at this particular phrase, okay? Okay, okay, who was it just now that asked me about idioms and everything? Is it Kirtana? Kirtana, were you the one who asked me about idiom? I think so, right?
Kirtana.
Kirtana. Okay, now, okay, look at this one. Okay, look at the phrase that I use. Since they are not allowed to eat at canteen, we bring. Okay, since they are not allowed to eat at the library, there's a word eat. There's a typo there. Sorry. Since they are not allowed to eat at the library, we bring the library to the canteen. Now that is a very, it's a good phrase. It's not an idiom per se. It's not an established idiom, but this is what we call as shades of meaning. Okay, or in BM ada maksud tersirat dekat sini. Okay, we bring the library to the canteen. It doesn't mean that tersurat kita bawa library, pindahkan library to the canteen. No, it means that we are bringing the books to the canteen as if the canteen were a library, but it's not a library. It's still a canteen. It's just that it's filled with books. So this is an example. Okay, it's not an idiom per se, because idioms, to find a suitable idiom to be used is very hard. Okay, but we can use these shades of meaning. Okay, all right. All right, and the last one, making sure students put all the plates into the container after finish eating. Okay, blah blah blah. I'll ask the school to fix the clock range and repair all the leaking taps. Okay, see? So you can see the progress from here to here to here. Yeah. Right. So this would be the final product. Okay. Okay. Try to make use of this. Okay. 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 Another example. This one. Also the same. Okay. Reviews required. Okay. Have you watched any interesting movies lately? Okay. Say what you enjoy about the movie. Would you recommend the movie to your friends? Why? Okay. So what can we do? We insert them into the table. Okay. Okay. Have you watched any interesting movies lately? Here. Okay. Say what you enjoy about the movie. Here. The last one is would you recommend? Okay. So why do we put it as a link? Because it is a recommendation. So this is a personal response. Personal response. Okay. All right. Okay, let's look at the point. Okay, the main idea or the central idea. Okay, so the question asks, have you watched any interesting movie lately? Okay, for the first part, for the beginning of the essay, I did not say the title of the movie, but and make use of something that is general, interesting movies on streaming services. Okay, interesting movie. Instead of listing down the movies, I say interesting movies. And then for example, further on, I list down the movie. All right. So for example, then we can list down the movie, sci-fi movie. So these are some of the title. All right. And then for elaboration, talk about the movie that you really like, or of all the movie you have listed down, which one is the best. All right. So what movie? Say what you enjoy in the movie. Okay. Actually, the movie selected was Interstellar. This is just an example. Okay. This I wrote this based on what I know. You should write based on what you know. Okay. All right. It shows. Okay. Why I enjoy the movie? Because it shows an accurate depiction of space travel based on a research. Blah blah blah. Makes me want to learn physics more. Okay. Okay, would you recommend the movies to your friend? Well, yes, I would recommend the movies to my friends who are in the same physics class with me. I will also recommend to my physics teachers. Okay, why? To have an engaging discussion during online classroom in physics lesson. Okay. All right, so we have here the final essay. Interesting movies. Okay, streaming services. All right. All right, since the nationwide lockdown, okay. I know that because of lockdown, we tend to watch a lot of movies on Netflix and Prime Video and Disney Plus. All right. Okay, sci-fi movies. Okay. All right. So I have listed them down. Okay. And I talk about my favorite movie, Interstellar, and I give some example about what it is. Okay. Okay. All right. And then, okay. See, elaboration. Okay. Another elaboration. Okay. To learn more about physics. Okay. Now let's try to look at this one. Strike a chord. Okay. Now, this is an idiom. Can anyone tell me what does it mean? Anyone? Maybe Kirtana, can you tell me? As a science student myself, this actually strikes a chord in me to learn more on physics. Strike a record. Now this is an idiom that is aptly used. Okay, yang digunakan secara sesuai. Anyone who can share with me or share with the rest of your friend what does it mean by strikes a chord? All right, you have access to internet right now. You can Google it yourself. Actually, anyone? Putri, Loshni, Yasmin, Fazlina, Loshni again, Fan, Xiao, Shavitra, Loshni again, Shavitra again, Kok, Nufar, Loshni again, Chloe. Okay, anyone? Okay, trigger a feeling of memory. Okay, cause someone to feel sympathy. Oh, so far no, okay, sorry. Cause someone to feel sympathy, spark enthusiasm. Okay, so the best one is the answer is from Nur Nazira. Spark enthusiasm. All right. Okay. Right. So strike a chord. So this is a very good usage of idiom. Now this is an idiom. All right. Okay. An essay should not be bombarded with a lot of idioms. One or two would be acceptable. People don't talk with idioms every day unless you were born in the Shakespearean era. All right. Nowadays we just something that's very clear cut. All right. Okay. And then we have the closing. Okay. The recommendation. All right. Here. Okay. So these are the elaboration. Okay. Okay. It's the same thing. Okay. Right, it's the same thing. Part 2 and part 3 has a similar approach. Okay, because one thing good about this thing is kind of relief because the guidelines are given. Make sure you elaborate on the guidelines. Now, can you include other things as well? Boleh. You can include other things as well. You have Alif? Okay, you can include other things as well, but make sure once again, like what I've said earlier, if you refer your module, I've said it on the second or the third page. I say as a candidate, you should give priority on the you should give priority to what is asked in the essay. Other things nak tambah. If you can add, go ahead. If you cannot, tak apa, it's okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Any questions so far? No. More or less is the same. All right. Okay, but the third.
Seri,
yes.
I just want to ask, the last time we learned that a proper writing structure consists of topic sentence, thesis statement, all this concluding sentence statement and all. So is this structure still applicable in this CFR SPM writing?
Yes, definitely. Actually, like what you said earlier, it's more or less the same thing. It's just the name is different. Okay. We can use the concluding paragraph, the thesis statement, everything. But however, for me, that this is like me, I'm teaching in a kampung school, so different than your school. I do not prefer to use all this bombastic term like thesis statement, things like that. So I make use of this term. It's much simpler for my students. Okay, to tell you the truth, I taught in Pasir Gudang before. All right. 6-10 years ago, your students are better than mine. Actually, mine is a kampung school, so I use a simpler term. That's all. But more or less, it is the same actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, right. Another thing why I do not want to use all this term is because that when we look at the level, it's B1 and B2. Okay, B1 and B2. I'm sure if you notice, all right, Cikgu Nazira, you notice that the previous SPM, okay, the previous SPM for the writing paper and this one is totally different in terms of the level, right? Yes. This one for CFR, the B2 level here looks like something from PMR or PT3, right?
Exactly. Because when, let's say, oh sorry, it's not the.
Yes. Hello.
Because when we use this structure, like we add on this topic sentence, concluding statement, and all this, I find that the length of the words would be increasing.
Yes,
So
definitely.
the tendency of the students write exceeding the word
Yeah.
limit is actually high.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you. And then that's why for this one, okay, uh, mm, we kind of need to, how should I put it? Can I use the term dumb it down? Okay.
Yes.
We dumb it down a little bit to the students level. All right. So that's why that's why we teach. Are you currently teaching Form 3 right now?
Form 1 and Form 5.
Okay. Are you familiar with marking PT3 before?
Yes.
Okay. Like me, I'm also the ketua pentaksir kawasan. All right. Normally when we have this mesyuarat pentaksiran, many teachers, they will argue with the way we mark. Sometimes when we mark the PT3 papers, we tend to give a very low marks. But when we compare with the marks given by lembaga periksaan, we notice that lembaga gives a much higher marks. So again,
exactly.
yes, that's why when we had a meeting, I keep saying to teachers from other district, I keep saying to them, you have to dumb it down a little bit. All right, we have to look at the what do you call it, the assessment scale. All right, kalau you tengok betul-betul assessment scale tu, kalau 5 apa yang perlu ada, content 5 mesti ada apa, community achievement 5 mesti ada apa. Okay, we actually based on that. All right, the level is low. Okay, the last one. Okay, now this is a story. All right, this is a story. Okay, a description of a dream, how dream is achieved. To tell you the truth, I made a mistake actually. I did not notice the title, so I actually wrote a different kind of story. But the what do you call it? The plot is the same. It's just the idea of the story is different. Okay, unlike before, we use the peel technique. For this one, you cannot use the peel technique definitely, because this is a story and a story must have progress. And then to make sure that the story progresses so well, you need to use all the plot stages. All right, so we have the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. And also, you can take all these things but included in the section. Okay, a description of the dream is here. All right, we'll see. Okay, how dream of is achieved. Okay, all right, and then you have the following action and everything. All right. Okay. Okay, all right. If it was a big monster was holding a treasure chest, fought it, chest which had a variety of chocolate, right? Things like that. Okay. So the last one, you cannot use the peel technique because it's a story. You have to use the plot. So you really have to use the plot stages, and then you have to really make use of the logical connect. For this one story, I suggest you to use. For story, it would be wise for you to use sequence connector instead of logical connector. Okay, because a story has progress. First, things like that. Later, moments later, afterwards. Okay, because a story has a progress, a chronological order that you have to follow. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's about it. I think I have explained everything. Okay. All right. I've explained to you on how to approach the first part, and how do you make use of the suggested sentence patterns, how to use conjunction, how to use of the cohesive devices, linkers, and then the other section, part 2 and part 3, use the pill technique. It will really help you to organize your thoughts together. All right. Okay. Anything else? Now, can we have the Q&A session, because I think I've explained everything. Can we have the Q&A session? Any doubts regarding this? Anyone? Okay, we still have, thank God, we still have 73 people in this Google Meet session, thank God. Only 1, 2, or 3 have left, okay? But the rest of you are still here. Okay, 74, now we have 74. Any questions? Maybe from the teachers? Any questions? Encik Khairul, any question? Puan Nur Nazira?
No question.
How many teachers in this session right now? Hello?
I think there should be 4 or 5 teachers.
Oh, okay. There are 4 or 5 teachers. But so far I know you, Cik Karul Nizam, Nazira. Have we met before? Cikgu Nazira, have we met before in the past?
No.
No, because I thought in Kota Masai, 2009, 2010, and then SMK Nusa Damai, 2010 until 2014.
I think that I am too young to be student. But I finished my SM was in 2008.
Oh, really? How old are you? I'm sorry.
As you said, I look as SPM candidates, right?
Oh, okay. All right. So how long have you been? How long have you been teaching?
It's my 6th year.
Oh, okay, 6 year. Okay, you're still new, And Cik Khairul?
Yeah.
I'm sure Cik Khairul is even older than me, right, Cik Khairul?
Yeah,
definitely.
I've been teaching 4 centuries.
4 centuries. Okay, I've been teaching for 13 years, and actually this will be my final year as a school teacher, because I'm going to proceed with my HLP in educational technology for the next 2 years, and after that I do not know where I will be posted to. Okay. All right. So whatever it is, if I want to go give a talk or teach to students, it must be before enroll in the university. All right. Any question from the students? Any students? Nazira, Fatma, Noshni, Fatma again.
Well, I just wonder how to actually help students of bad classes to construct even simple sentences, because when I teach, my my students of last classes, I don't know what is actually happening to them, because they can't even, or they barely construct simple sentences, and they just I have come to a dead end, because when I see the sentence, it doesn't mean anything at all.
I understand that. So my suggestion, I mean, like, what even like me myself teaching in campus school, what normally I would do is that I never force my students to write. No, I never force my students to write complex sentences, because I know that I know their level. Okay, I know that what they can do. I know how far they can go. So I maintain to that level. Okay, so if you, for the student from the failed classes, if you can only teach them simple sentences, and then go ahead, just teach them simple sentences and repeat that process again and again, right? Because we know that teaching them all these compound sentences, complex sentences, even to the most complex part of the grammatical, even more the difficult part of the grammatical aspect, I don't teach them. Just teach them on simple past, simple present, simple future, right? Cikgu Nazira, are you familiar with the 6-word story?
Sorry.
Are you familiar with the 6-word story?
What is that?
A 6-word story is a 6-word story is actually it's actually a method of writing a story If I'm not mistaken, this is a brainchild of Ernest Hemingway, the writer. Okay, it's a way to write a story or even a paragraph using 6 words. Okay, you can Google it yourself. It's all over the internet actually. So even for the student from the theory classes, if you say that they do not know how to construct sentences, all right, teach them on 6-word story. All right, 6-word story is basically a sentence that has like 6 words, even though the sentence is grammatically wrong, but it makes sense. So the message is conveyed there, even though the grammatical structure is horrific. All right, there's a lot of things missing, but it still can be understood. All right, try to read on this 6-word story. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. If there's all right. Okay. If there's nothing else, should we end the session? Cikgu Perul?
Yeah. Before you go.
Yes.
Yes, and the students we would like to say thank you for the interesting and clear explanation.
Thank you. I hope it's clear. Okay. I hope it is clear.
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay.
It's very helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Especially for teachers as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Most teachers are unfamiliar with this because the teachers who are familiar with this format are the teachers who have never taught Form 3. All right, but those who have taught Form 3, those who were PKW or KPKW, they are familiar with this format. This is it's not something foreign to them because they have experienced this before. All right. Okay. Send my best regard to Mr. Loga. I used to be in the same school with his wife actually. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Anything else? Oh, Loga, you are here. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Loga, for the invitation. Right. Okay. So should we end the session? Cik Khairul? Okay. All right. Okay. All of you can leave. Okay. Welcome. All of you can leave now if you want to. Bye bye, Harold. Bye bye, Kitana. Navita, Suhaira. Goodbye. Tan. Goodbye. Huda. Goodbye. Fan. Neo. Wow, Neo. That's a good name. Shugashini, goodbye. Nagarajan, Fatima, Mubutan, Yasmin, goodbye. Yasmin, hello, bye-bye. Good luck. Adib, Jihada, goodbye. Anis, Chua, Aiman, goodbye. Alison, that's Darren, that's a good name. Aiman, Chua, Harit, goodbye. Okay, goodbye. All right. Wait. Okay, sorry.